Guys, what's up? Shin0555 here, back with another episode of TextBox where gamers talk about games. I am here with our good friend RetroReview. Say hey, Retro.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Yep, and we are here to do the ultimate debate on the Switch 2. Switch 2 is a very hot topic right now. A lot of people are either very happy with it, or hate it. I'm in the camp where I am not very happy, where Retro is more hyped than I am. So we are gonna debate, talk about it, the pros, the cons, and by the end of the video, you have to pick a winner. You can't leave this video without saying who won the debate. That's just the only rule.
Absolutely. Get in the comments, engage in this video. I want to see some vicious attacks from all of you in the comments, please.
Yes, the more vicious, the better. 'Cause I'm sick of all these debates where they're just like, that we agree to disagree. No, we need winners here. We have winners and losers here. So, do you want to start us off with,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll get us into this really fast. So I think the biggest like pro for the Switch 2 is that we've been waiting for a pro version of the original Switch for a very long time. I remember waiting, saving up money, ready to jump on it because the Switch is underpowered. It's definitely suffering the later years, especially a lot of the third-party ports and even some of the first-party Nintendo games are suffering on that console. So when we got the OLED, I liked the changes, but I was really disappointed in no power up. So the Switch 2 looks like a huge leap from the original Switch here to this one. I think it's going to be like an insane jump for Nintendo fans. And I think that's the biggest reason that I've been excited, at least, for the Switch 2 for years, even before it was even announced. It's just been rumored for so long. I've wanted that extra power boost because I think Nintendo will do a much better job at like preserving battery versus like mobile PCs. And they'll just put some real elbow grease into their games now, and we can actually have high quality stuff on the go that isn't going to lag and be a pain in the butt to play. And third-party developers are actually going to put time into the console and give us more high-quality games there.
I see your point there, but that's kind of like my point too, is like the Switch 2 is really, like, in my opinion, just a Switch Pro. It doesn't feel like the next, like, iteration. It really just feels like what the PS4 is to like the PlayStation 4 Pro. It doesn't feel like it's leaping to that like PS4 to PS5. And from what I heard, it's gonna be around as powerful as like a PlayStation 4/4 Pro. So that's really good in terms of you're comparing it to the Switch. But you can't just compare it to the Switch. You have to compare it to like the PlayStation 5 that's already out, and like even other gaming handhelds like the Steam Deck. So having that like power up is great and everything, but it's still like kind of behind the times in terms of like power. It's not like completely up to date yet. So
That's true. I have seen that. Oh, sorry. If you can finish, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna just say, it's just like, so when companies like make games like multiplat, they still have to make them basically on PlayStation, or at least keep in mind PlayStation 4 hardware levels when they make games like the sports games, or like a Sonic game, for instance, that's going to be on multiple consoles. It's like Nintendo's still kind of holding those third parties back.
That's definitely true. But I could argue at the same time that Xbox was the first one to do that with the Series S. And while it doesn't seem like the Switch 2 is maybe quite as powerful as the S, I mean, the S is definitely not anywhere near on par with the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. So I think I think the Xbox Series S is actually helping out the Nintendo here because they're already forcing developers to get the feature parity thing going. I know Baldur's Gate 3 took a long time to get to Xbox because of the S. If it had just been for the Xbox Series X, it wouldn't have been a problem. But because they needed feature parity across both consoles, it took them a long time to finally figure that out. And I think that will go actually in like Nintendo's favor here because I think we're already being hamstrung. So if we're going to be hamstrung, we can at least get some higher quality stuff on the Switch too. I mean, I've seen some footage of Cyberpunk 2077. I think the early stuff I saw, like on it mobile, like not docked, looked okay. But docked, I've seen some comparisons to the PlayStation 5 as well as the Series X. Cyberpunk 2077 looks like it's running pretty much on par. And I think it's due to like the upscaling of the dock, and apparently some of the tech heads I've watched videos on will say like it's doing a very good job of giving us the same kind of quality visuals, the same kind of performance you'd get on the PlayStation 5, despite the hardware not being quite up to snuff there. So I think Nintendo and their third-party partners here are focusing on optimizing. I know Nintendo typically does a really good job about optimizing their hardware, but it looks like third parties are even jumping on that train. If they can optimize for the console, I think we'll get some parity that we can say, yeah, maybe it doesn't look quite as good, but it's not like a huge disparity. I don't think it'll be crazy noticeable, and I think they're just going to get better and better at it over the course of the console's lifespan, and we'll just see a lot of really good experiences on the Switch too.
Yeah, like, I actually have a friend who works I believe he works for EA now, but he was talking about, like, how much of a nightmare it is to port games over to the Switch now. Like, he was talking about one of the basketball games he worked on, and it was just, like, getting it to run on basically, like, a child's tablet was, like, a nightmare. And what I find, but again, it's just, like, power isn't everything. So when people like compare about like power and like, it's just like you can make it an amazing game on like PS4 hardware. I'm not like knocking like that. Like that is insane levels of like video game tech you can do. And that's one thing I will say. I bet the Nintendo games that Nintendo are making are going to be very, very good on like the newer hardware. But again, with like these third-party games, I think they're going to either struggle, and I think it depends on how well the Switch 2 sells. Because if it doesn't sell like as well as like the Switch 1, if we have like a Wii and then like Wii U situation with the Switch 2, I don't think companies are going to be that incentivized to even port their games over to the Switch 2.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think they've gotten a lot of goodwill on the Switch 1. Like, despite it being pretty underpowered, they did get a lot of third-party support like midway through because it was selling so well and people just loved it so much. I think they've got the support right now. And if they can keep it going and get that momentum going, and exactly what you're saying, if they get the sales for the Switch 2, that keeps moving along, because I expect it to sell out in that launch window pretty easily, but I don't think that's indicative of lifetime sales in any way, shape, or form. I just think, it's the hot commodity right now. Scalpers obviously want to try and get it if they can. But yeah, I think long term, if we see in a year or two, if we see those sales really picking up and people really taking to the Switch 2, I think you're right. We'll get more third-party support, more people willing to try and optimize on the console. I think we'll just have to see. I think if Cyberpunk 2077 runs really well on the Switch 2 docked, and when you're taking it mobile, I think that will be like a really good litmus test to see if it's capable of that stuff. Because I play most of my Switch stuff undocked. I don't typically play my Switch at home. If I'm at home, I'm playing my PlayStation or my Xbox. So I tend to take it on the go. So I'm more interested in how games will perform on the go on the Switch 2 than in docked mode. As cool as that is, the upscaling to 4K and getting all the way up to 120 frames per second or whatever they're touting here, I'm more interested to see what they're going to do on the go. And I'm hopeful that they'll make their experiences really fresh on the go.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I think Nintendo is banking on, and they might not get, is because when they made the Switch 1, I think they didn't realize how many people were willing to rebuy games to have them portably. I know I did a ton. I bought a bunch of games I already own on like PlayStation and other consoles, and I would just buy the Switch version just to have a portable version of that game. I bought 2 versions of like Sonic Frontiers. I bought like the I got it on the PS4 version, and then I got the Switch version. I bought 2 just because I wanted one portably. And then, but I think for the Switch 2, they're not gonna get that much because the Steam Deck exists. Cause like again, like you brought up Cyberpunk. It's just like we already have a portable version of Cyberpunk that runs very well, and I can get it on a console that's cheaper than the Switch 2. In fact, I could get a Steam Deck, a dock for the Steam Deck, and a mouse. And since it's Steam, these games go on sale like all the time. I could get the games even cheaper on the Steam Deck. Instead of paying like
that is a good point.
Like $70. So again, it's like you don't have like the environment is different now. Switch is not the only portable console that can do all this stuff. It's like we have like the Steam Deck that you could make into a Switch just by buying the dock for much cheaper.
That is true. And I think with the technology getting better and better with people making the mobile PCs, I think we've got plenty of competition in the space right now. I think what Nintendo does better is the battery power. Nintendo is so good at keeping battery. I know there was like some criticism when the Switch launched with like how much battery you could get out of the Switch when you're playing like Breath of the Wild on the go. And I'm like, 2.5, 3 hours is actually pretty darn good. And now that we've gone like down the line and seen all these other competitors come out, I feel like the mobile PCs, everyone I've talked to is like, you're lucky to get like an hour and a half out of like a big game, like say Cyberpunk 2077, something really demanding. And Switch, the Nintendo's just really good at optimizing their hardware so it's not killing the battery super fast. I think that will be a huge advantage because that's something I value. I like being able to just take it on the go, like play it as much as I need to do. And sometimes I won't like charge it for a couple of days because I don't need to. The battery's just that good. And it looks like it's going to be pretty strong going into this launch even. I think they're estimating times like a higher like ceiling than the original Switch had, but close to the same low end. So around like the 3-hour mark, which I think is still pretty darn good for something as big as Cyberpunk or for their newer games like DK Bonanza. I think that's something that interests me. I typically tend to value the battery life really hard. So even if something like a mobile PC has maybe more versatility, I'm going to have those first party games, of course, on Nintendo, because that's the only place you're going to get them. And then the third party stuff's going to run a lot longer on the Switch too. So if that's going to hold true and we're going to have lots of third-party titles that just run longer on the Switch too and look comparable, I think that's going to be a huge plus for it.
Yeah, that's definitely the battery life. We'd have to see because, again, the console's not even out yet. So we don't know exactly how long, but generally, like the handheld PCs, they do last like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You can fiddle with the settings a little bit to get like a little bit more time out of it, but I think a big problem with these like big AAA titles like Cyberpunk is you don't really want to play them on the go though. Like, so I don't, because like I have a bunch of handheld like PCs. I have like a Steam Deck, a Win 4, and I play them a lot, but it's like I never really take them out of the house. And so I'm always really kind of next to an outlet. So I get what you're saying about like the battery life, and it's like that sounds like really low. But generally speaking, it's like I don't want to play like a Kingdom Hearts 3 while I'm like on the bus somewhere or like at an airport, really, because like you kind of have to be like paying attention to other things. So I generally like play it in the house, and it's like you're always kind of near an outlet. So yeah, and talk about the portability. This is one thing I wanted to bring up too, is like some of the features of the Switch 2 don't like help the portability option. Like, I know a lot of people like that whole like mouse Joy-Con thing they got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, and that's a cool feature, but when you think about it like practical wise, you have to have a desk with like a mouse pad to really like utilize it well. So it's like, that's not portable. Like, I can't use mouse mode like on a bus or like in an airport, like sitting on a plane. So
Yeah,
and it's
for
like,
sure.
yeah, so if like I'm gonna use a mouse and I'm gonna need a desk for it to play like a game like Civilization or something, why don't I just play it on my PC, since I like basically have to have like be sitting at like a PC, you know?
Right. For me, it's really cool to have something like mouse controls because it opens up the world for console gaming. Because I've never had like a powerful PC. The closest I ever got, I got like a mid-range gaming laptop that was a few years old when I was in college, and it like runs things pretty darn well. So that's the closest I've ever gotten to like playing on PC. But I've never had that like setup. So for me, going into like the Switch 2 and saying, yeah, now I feel more comfortable playing something like Civ 7, because now I actually have the option to be more like a mouse and keyboard here. And even like more than that, I really love having a joystick for movement. I hate playing any kind of game where you have to like 3D movement on a keyboard. It drives me insane. So having like mouse on one side and then joystick on the other hand is really tantalizing to me, especially thinking about any kind of like first person, third person shooters. It just sounds really interesting and cool to have the option to have a mouse and a joystick at the same time. I do get what you're saying. I think this requires a ton of setup. So this is something that you almost certainly have to do at home. But I'm also not going to be playing any kind of competitive, like let's say I get back into Fortnite because I've been trying to play with my friends. That's the game everybody has. If I've got the option to aim with my mouse Joy-Con, and then move freely with my other stuff, I think that's going to be really sick. And I'm also excited for Metroid Prime 4 being able to do something like that. I think that'll just be, it opens up a new world for console players. So if you don't have a PC like myself, that's a huge thing. It's like now PC games feel way more accessible, and maybe they'll get a huge audience. Maybe Civ 7 is going to sell really well because people now can do the point and click. They're not having to work through the cumbersome joystick movement and everything. I've tried to play RTS on consoles before, and it just feels awful. So I'd love to see what the potential is here. I can see a huge upside. Maybe we get some ports from like some really popular games on PC that would really only work on Switch 2 because they have that mouse support.
But again, on the same side, I could get a Steam Deck with a dock and a mouse and pretty much have the same like effect to it.
Yeah, you're right, because then you can just get the games on sale instead of spending the full price tag. Yep, I'll give you that one.
So, but again, it's just like, just being like a consumer. It's just like when the Switch 1 came out, there was nothing like it, and it was exciting and it was great. But now with like the Switch 2, it's just like, I find it really hard, because like for me personally, I like Nintendo games. I wouldn't say I'm super in love with Nintendo. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a good Zelda game, and I like Mario games, but like from there, like, so like for me to buy a Switch 2, it would really weigh heavily on their like first party games, and it's just like, I can live with, like, I actually really just don't like Mario Kart in general. So like Mario Kart being the launch game and being an $80 game for like and it's like, in my opinion, Mario Kart's like a spin-off series. It's just like, even like the new Sonic racing game that's coming out shouldn't be $60. That should be like maybe 50, maybe 40, because like it's like a spin-off game. so like charging like full price for like a Mario Kart right off the bat, and then it's like, you got like the DK game that looks really good, but it's like I still haven't even played like DK 64 yet. So again, it's just like their lineup right now is not really exciting, and there's no game on the Switch 2 coming out where I'm just like, I will buy that console just to play that one game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give you that. The launch lineup, I was looking it up right before I started this video with you. I was like, I need to refresh, see what's coming. It's a lot of ports, and ports are great. I think you need ports, remasters, like the Hitman trilogy coming to Switch too. I think that's pretty cool. You've got, like I said before, Cyberpunk. I've never gotten into Cyberpunk. I think I would enjoy it on the go. That would be one, like, I would have more time to play it on the go, so I could get through something that has, hundreds of hours in there. That's pretty exciting for me. DK Bonanza, I have been waiting for another 3D DK game for 2 decades now. Like, I played the DK64 when I was a kid. You should lose the debate immediately for not playing DK64. That's crazy.
It's on my
to
backlog.
No, but that game looks, I mean, most people are comparing it to Mario Odyssey. I think with a lot of credence there, it does look in that same vein. I think this will be, I like that they're banking on DK as like one of their killer apps in the launch window. It comes out like a month after, so that's not a lot of time to wait. Metroid Prime 4 looks incredible, and it's coming out this year. Like a game that people have been waiting for forever, and that's going to be on Switch 1 too, so that's not like a huge draw. But when I got the original Switch, I got Breath of the Wild. I got the Switch for Breath of the Wild so I could play it on the go, and so I could experience the full version, and that's kind of how I feel with Metroid Prime 4. But I agree. Outside of that, you have not a whole lot. Mario Kart World looks exactly like a Mario Kart game, and I agree. It should be nowhere near $80. I think in Nintendo's world, where they charge out the nose for everything and never lower prices, I think $60 would be like the top price I would want to pay for it, and I don't want to pay that much for it. I'm not buying Mario Kart World day one. Even you and I are absolutely both like physical collectors, and I think a lot of people value that physical collection. Which is another reason I like Cyberpunk 2077, the full game on the cartridge. Love that CD Projekt Red. That's a huge up for me. But having like a bundle in $50 digital version just is not appealing to me in any way, shape, or form. I agree with you. I still think that that's like maybe even too expensive. It's not going to be a super content rich game, and unless you're playing it online a lot, there's no reason to really jump. Or I guess if you have a bunch of friends over, but I feel like we're getting to the point where that's getting fewer and fewer times where we have like a bunch of group, like a big party over, and we're playing Mario Kart and stuff. I feel like, at least for me, I'm getting that less and less as I get older, and I don't expect a ton of my friends to buy the Switch 2 day one and get Mario Kart World. So like, I don't see the appeal in that one. And if you're not there for Mario Kart and you're not there for DK, then you're probably there for Metroid Prime 4 down the line, or like a new Mario game that is supposed to be rumored for this year, maybe later or early 2026. I agree. The launch lineup is a lot of ports, and if you don't care about the couple big marquee titles they're touting, this launch is kind of weak. You've got that stupid Welcome Switch 2 tour for $10. What are they doing?
Well, that's another point I want to bring up about the Switch, and I'm going to make a video on this later. It's like, you can definitely tell that something has changed in Nintendo's, like, either management or whatever the decision-making, like, body in Nintendo. There has been a shift, and you can see it, like, really, like, you see it in like the Switch 1, which I kind of like forgive the Switch 1 because of like it's how unique it was, but with like the Switch 2, and we haven't seen like the full like interface for what it looks like, but it's so sterile. Like, their menus, there's no like menu music. Like, when I think back to like the Nintendo Wii, and you got the channels, and you got, like, it played, like, a unique song for, like, every channel you got, and then it had, like, sound effects when you move, like, left and right, and then when you got like messages, it wasn't just like a text. You got like a little letter thing. And it's like, that was missing in the Switch, and I fear that's going to be missing in the Switch 2. Like, I just upgraded my Switch 1 for, like, those virtual game cards, where it takes, like, all your games, makes them, like, virtual game cards, even digital ones. And then I was, like, looking at the menu, and it just looked gross. Like, it almost looked like a super not fun or warming... Like, like, I was looking through all my games, like, I don't want to play it. Like, all this looks disgusting. Like, just the way it's, like, presented and stuff. And...
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem. And it's like, a Nintendo console should not be that. It should be really fun. Like, we should have themes. There should be, like, Nintendo music. When, like, I load a game, I want, like, a little pixel Mario to, like, grab the game and, like, pull it on the screen or something fun. And it's like, that's one thing with like recent Nintendo, it seems like they don't care about fun anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with you on that one again. Yeah, I agree. The user interface, people have been begging for themes on the original Switch since it launched, and they assumed that they would come later. And then I even saw, I think it was a Nathaniel Bandy video, who is a huge Nintendo channel, like loves Nintendo. But he still criticizes, and which I appreciate, and I like that he takes a stance on stuff like how expensive things are. But I think he talked about before the Switch 2 Direct, he was like, one thing Nintendo can do to like make this a win, a huge win off the bat, is giving us themes. And I think that's so sad. Like, how is that the level of confidence we have in Nintendo? Like, all we want is themes, and you made our entire day, and then they didn't even do that.
Yeah,
I think you're 100% right. I think the Switch 2 UI looks exactly like the Switch 1, and I don't think they're planning on improving it anytime soon.
Yeah, no, and it's just like, and it's not only like the UI is like a visual indication of it, but even like that terms of service. And I think the biggest problem with the Switch 2, and I think we can both agree on this, is how Nintendo corporate is handling things. It's almost like they're anti-consumer, anti-fun. Like, they upgraded their terms of service, and it's just like they made it so vague and open-ended where they could just brick your Switch 1 and your Switch 2 for whatever reason if they don't like what you're doing. So, and a lot of people, like, I've heard, because I made some videos on this, and they're like, well, just use your console as intended. It's like, okay, but, like, why do you assume Nintendo's gonna, like, since it's so vague, why do you assume Nintendo's gonna be good with it? Because they went after, like, they go after, like, YouTubers, like, try to destroy their channels for just having, like, their game footage on. So, what's stopping Nintendo from, like, know what? We don't like what you're saying outside of playing this game. We're gonna brick your console. Like, yeah, like, oh, you said this tweet that we don't agree with. That actually violates our super vague terms of service. Cancel. Bricked. It's like...
Yeah, I think...
Oh, go on.
I think that once you buy your console... I think this is a wider conversation too. Once you buy your console, you buy your games, that's yours. You paid for it. If I mod my Switch and like to have fun doing whatever, I get my own themes because Nintendo's not going to do it for me, or I do silly costumes in Smash Brothers, or whatever it is. Let's say I'm not doing anything pirating. Let's say that I leave that out of the conversation because Nintendo's always big on pirating their games. That's like their stance. But let's say I just mod my Switch to have some fun, and they decide it's against their terms of service, and they brick my Switch. Now I spent $450 on a new console, and I can't play it because I made some random Nintendo executive upset that I modded my console. I 100% agree. That's terrible that they can do that.
Yeah, and like, and again, it's like the terms of service is so vague. It's just like they could just cancel it for any, like, say, I know they hate when you put like their game footage on. Say they have something that goes through the HDMI and it can detect if it's like being run through like a capture card. Does that count as modding? Is that like, oh, well, Nintendo, like, they don't like it, and then they'll do the argument like, well, we give you an ability to record on the console itself, and then it's like, yeah, I can record like a 10-second clip at like 480p. Well, you're not using it, and it's just like, I don't want to get and this is like not just completely Nintendo, like Sony's kind of doing this, and Xbox I think will kind of go in, but it's just like, if I'm literally buying a console that's basically like a rental box for games, I don't want a console anymore. I don't care what games are coming out.
Yeah, just we have our huge backlogs. There's no point in buying a rental that we spend a ton of money on. I agree with that. Yeah.
And it's just like, and even like down the line, like 20 years down the line, am I going to even be able to use most of my games with the Switch 2? Like, are you going to, or is it like you have to keep up the internet service or the servers or whatever? Is like, and it's like, if the answer is like, well, probably not, no, maybe, it's like, I just can't in good faith to be like, oh, I really want this console.
I'll play devil's advocate here, because since that's my role anyway.
Yeah.
I've not been doing a good job so far. I will say the terms of service being so vague is not good for the consumer. But on the other side too, if we see, with the way social media presence is right now, if we see Nintendo start to do a bunch of BS here and say, you know, we're bricking a bunch of these consoles because they're violating terms of service, and someone big picks up the story, posted on Twitter, posted on YouTube or whatever, they're going to get a ton of pushback. And I don't think that's irrelevant anymore. I think even like the pushback we got at the Nintendo Direct, like the Treehouse thing that they did following the Switch 2 Direct, where they talked about the price and everything, they got a ton of pushback from the comments talking about, we don't want $80 games, lower the price, like flooding the comments with that. I don't think it's negligible anymore. I think with the way social media is and how huge it is, I don't think they can get away with it. So I do think they will be very, very like, what's the word I'm looking for? I think they'll be very specific about, I'm guessing they will target piracy the most. And it does leave the door open for like, oh, but if you mod it, then it allows you to access pirated software. So I guess there is the argument for that. But I do think they will use it sparingly, because if they just start bricking consoles, I don't think anyone's going to buy their product. They're going to say, well, what's the point in me even buying this thing if I have a chance of Nintendo just bricking it? Let's say I do something unintentionally, or I have something happen online and I get some weird glitch while I'm playing online, and they think I'm cheating, they think I'm pirating, they think something nefarious is going on. I don't think people will buy it. I think it's already a huge sell to say a $450 console in this economy right now. I do think that they will use it sparingly. And the other point, talking about like their games and going forward and everything, and will I be able to play it in 20 years, say, I think that's very valuable. And right now the policy is for Switch 2 games from Nintendo, they are all coming fully on the cartridge, whether that is new games for Switch 2 or the Switch 2 upgraded versions of games. They will all be fully on the cartridge day one. You don't have to worry about updating, so I can just plug it and play it. I don't have to update it if I don't want to, because it will all be there. So I think that is a huge thing. At least Nintendo's taking the preservation side here. At least for right now, we've got that guarantee from them that their games will be fully on the cartridge. So I do think that is good there. So I think they have a chance to prove that their terms of service here are gonna be okay, and that they're gonna try and shut down the people trying to steal their stuff. I've talked about like ethical piracy. I think we talked about an our TextBox thing with old games and stuff like that. And like, if you can't access the console anymore, like the hardware's failing, you can't buy it anywhere, they're not selling it anywhere. what's the point in like restricting us from accessing it via ROM sites or whatever? I've never been one to just get out there and say, yeah, go pirate new games, because I think we should be supporting developers that put hard work. I think it's crazy that games ever get made ever. I don't think we should be pirating modern gen games. So if they're just targeting those people, I don't have a problem with that, as long as that's it. And I hope right now that's what they would do with it. If it comes to them bricking consoles at all, hopefully they just don't do it and we don't hear anything about it and we don't have to worry about it. That's a big hope, but yeah, that's my that's my wishful thinking here.
Yeah, like, again, I can understand that you want to keep it like vague and open-ended, just for like where I live like near the beach, and at the beach there is no like alcohol allowed on the beach at all. But basically they only have that rule so it gives police, so if there's like a problem or whatever, it allows them to have like leeway to be like, oh, well, there's alcohol on the beach, we're gonna like detain you or whatever. So it's just like, I can understand that in a regard where it's just like, we want like the legal wiggle room to take action when we need to take action. Like, I can understand that. But again, it's hard to do that when Palworld, like, believe Nintendo will be, like, good and honest with it when games like Palworld have to update themselves so you can't catch a monster in a sphere because Nintendo owns that idea.
Yeah, that is a good point to bring up. They have a huge history of litigiousness, and yep, Palworld is a huge example right now with them going after games and people. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, so again, it's just like, and that's the shitty thing, because like, I want to like the Switch 2 a lot. I love the Switch 1. I think it's awesome, but it's just like, and it's not like completely Nintendo's fault. I think it's a lot of like just where gaming is now, just like modern gaming and like every company. But it's just like, it's hard to get excited for this thing with like so much bullshit going on. And it's just like, I want to just be like, ooh, the Switch 2, and I run out and I buy it, and I buy a Mario hat, like I did with like my Switch, because it was there, and I was like, no, I'm gonna get the Mario hat, it's gonna be awesome. And then like, and it's just like, just disappointing. And it's like, I'm sure like the first party Nintendo games are gonna be great. I'm actually excited to see like where they're going. I'm excited to see what the new Zelda game is gonna be. Yeah, like moving on. Honestly, I really hope they kind of go back to form with like 3D Zelda, like make it more like Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, rather than like Breath of the Wild-esque.
I think that there was some confirmation that they are moving away from the Breath of the Wild formula after Tears of the Kingdom. So I am very encouraged by that. I think I'm with you. I think going back to a more focused 3D Zelda game is a really good move.
Like, honestly, I think if they combine the two, like, this would be a game that would get me excited for the Switch 2. If they said, listen, we're going to make a Zelda game, and it's going to be like Ocarina of Time, like, structure-wise, where you go through, there's a set story, but once you beat the game and defeat Ganondorf, the world opens up to the size of Breath of the Wild, and there's just a bunch of stuff. Like, have it where, like, you go through the game, like, normally, and you have, like, your cutscenes and, like, these events that you watch, and have, like, a really rich story, but then after, it's like all these areas are just massive and expansive, and you can, like, go through them and explore them on your own time after the game's done. It's just like, if they like said, we're doing that, I might be pre-ordering a Switch 2. But it's like, I don't see that game yet.
And I will say, like, the upside here of having a console day one, I talked about this in one of my videos too. I got the PlayStation 5 day one. There wasn't a whole lot going on there. Same thing with the PS4. Like, when consoles launch, they don't have huge openings. Typically, they've got a couple heavy hitters or a couple like pretty good titles that you can go on, but then you have to kind of wait. But Nintendo has some stuff in the back. We know, like, we're definitely waiting on a new Zelda and a new Mario game. And I think they really are still good at surprising us with, oh my goodness, there's a brand new thing. We got Echoes of Wisdom on the Switch before the end of its life cycle, a year after Tears of the Kingdom. So I think we've got remakes in store for Zelda, which I'm always down for Zelda specific ones, because like the Link's Awakening really like made me really excited about it. They did a good job with Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. If they do a like Link to the Past remake or any of the old games remake, they've got that waiting in the wings almost certainly at this point, and a new game coming in the future, new 3D Mario game, probably a new 2D Mario game, and I loved Mario Wonder. They have enough IP and a good enough track record with their games that even if I'm like maybe a little light at the beginning, I'll have DK Bonanza, and then when Metroid Prime 4 comes around, I'll have that, and hopefully by the time I'm done with that, they'll have already announced and are about to release a new 3D Mario, and then they'll get the new Zelda, and then and I think they do the best at rolling out new stuff. But even on the PlayStation 5, like I had a couple good exclusives, but then Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart came out, and I had one of the best experiences ever playing that game. So having the console early on just means that you're ready for when they just surprise new Mario's coming out in a couple months. Boom, I'm just ready to go. I've had my time with the Switch 2. I'm comfortable with it now. It is a more iterative thing, so if you have a Switch 1, it's probably not that different. But I do think it's more exciting when you own the console already to say, oh, now there's a new big thing coming for it, and I can just be ready to grab it. I've already got it. I'm ready to go. That's exciting for me. It makes me more excited about the new stuff to already have the console instead of saying I'm going to wait until the library's bigger, because then it's a little more daunting for me. Then I have to buy the console and buy like 5 or 6 games for it, and they're flipping expensive right now. So I'd rather piecemeal it as we go.
Yeah, no, and it's just like I am confident that there are going to be really good first-party games coming out on it. But the third party, and again, I think this is really determinant on the sales of the Switch 2. And again, I think it's going to sell out right away. I think they already confirmed, like, all the pre-orders got bought up, like, in a second. Like, so I think it's going to sell well, like, right off the bat. It's going to be, like, the new hot item. But it's just, like, it's just, like, the value of the Switch 2 just isn't there for me when things like the Steam Deck are around. Because it's, like, if I want to play Cyberpunk, it's like, yeah, but I could get that on my Steam Deck cheaper, and I could get, like, mods for it on the Steam Deck working. And I can, like, and I can actually, like, play the game the way I want it. And it's just, and, like, there's another topic I want to talk about, the virtual, like, console things on the Switch 2, like the GameCube coming up.
Yes.
But even that, it's just like, oh, well, we got the GameCube. I can get GameCube on my Steam Deck, and it's going to be a much better experience than what it is on the Switch 2. So again, it's just like
100%.
Value-wise, I don't see it there for the Switch. One of the biggest pluses for the Switch, though, is it is a brand name. It's Nintendo, and it's really easy for people for like a parent to go to the store, buy the Switch 2 for their kid for like Christmas or something, than it is the Steam Deck. Like, if you want the Steam Deck, you actually have to go on Steam and order it on the website.
Yes.
So, like, 100%. I think the storefront is going to definitely help out the Switch, because, like, people are just know, like, oh, I go to, like, Walmart or Best Buy or whatever, and, like, there's a box there. I buy the box. I bring it home. I think that's the one thing that I think, like, might save the Switch from, like, the Steam Deck, is just, like, the convenience of buying it. But
and that's always been the convenience of consoles anyway. They just work out the box. There's no configuration. Like, PC gaming can be a little more nebulous or a little more intimidating for console users because it's a lot of work and a lot of extra stuff. The Switch 2 is just gonna, you open it up, you pull it out, and it works. And if we get, like, I think the third-party support, if it does pick up, what'll be most exciting about it is when we get new games coming out on Switch 2 as well as the other consoles. So we're just getting it in real time. It's going to cost the same on every platform, but this one I can play it portably. And if it holds well and actually runs just about as well as the other consoles, then it becomes like, oh, now we see some more rich value here instead of something like maybe the Steam Deck that can still run it, but has the less battery life, harder to set up, those stuff like that. It's just more accessible, more convenient for the consumer.
That is true. I'll give you that one. But but before I forget, the like GameCube like virtual console thing, this is another like thing going back to like Nintendo's like management. It's almost like evil what they're doing. Like the GameCube controller that you can buy from like Nintendo that works with the like GameCube virtual, it's not called, it's like the, what is it called? Like the Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah,
service.
Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah. That GameCube controller only works with that GameCube Online service. Like you can't use that controller and play like a modern game on it. Like you can't use that game.
I actually did see that Nintendo has come out to say that that is actually not correct and that it does work on other stuff as well. Yes, I was upset about that as well, but apparently it does work across other games as well.
Okay, that's good at least, because the last time I heard is like they had like a thing that just said no, it only works for the game. It's like, okay, that's good, because that's just stupid because they added the buttons.
Thing ever.
Yeah, like okay,
yeah, it's super expensive too. Like, why would I ever buy this?
And you also need to like have like a Switch account for like a full year and like a certain number of hours to even buy it. Like playtime. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
I do think it's meant to be a way to like combat scalpers so they don't just buy them up. I think it's it's a start. It's an idea towards stopping scalpers, which I do appreciate, but I also agree with your side too. I'm both here, but I do see what you're saying and I agree with it.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to bring up is I hate how they're holding your save files hostage with the virtual, because I don't know if you heard about that, but last I heard, I don't know if they changed this, I don't think they did, but basically when you're playing one of the, like the GameCube games or any of the virtual console games, you need the Switch Online service, but if you let it like lapse where you just like stop paying for it, after a certain number of time they'll delete your save files. So I forgot the exact amount. It was like a few months or something. But if you don't, I believe
you're correct.
Yeah, if you don't renew it, you lose like your save files on there. So it's like you're basically holding these games hostage, being like, no, well, you just got to keep paying us monthly for this, sir. And it's just like, no, like what? And
online subscriptions are not, I don't think they're the best value. I think they're really good value up front, like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus specifically. But once you've played the catalog, even like the new games coming in won't be worth it because you could just buy them instead of paying for the subscription. And I think the same thing holds true for Switch Online. They have a huge retro library. I think it's climbing. I think the value is getting better, especially if you don't have an emulation device or a way to emulate things on like a computer or whatever. I do think it's nice to bring attention to retro software that way. I do think that's good for channels like us or for just raising awareness of retro games in general. I think they have a pretty decent selection on there, and the fact that you have Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy and Game Boy Color, Genesis, like they do have a nice selection there. I do think it's good for the retro community in to some measure. But on the other hand, obviously, if you have any capability to emulate any of these things, it's pretty easy. You can emulate all of that stuff. I have all these old games. I emulate all of them. I haven't seen many on the Switch Online system that I would be excited to use. I think I played through Punch-Out on the NES because I was really excited to play that one again. Didn't have it immediately ready, like available. I didn't have my ROM saved or whatever. And so that one was exciting. And then I haven't touched the rest of it. So it's absolutely useless to me because I can just emulate all the stuff. But it is there if you don't emulate or you don't have access to old consoles. So it's good and it's bad when, like what you're saying with the save files. I think there is some good there, but I think
Yeah, well, like
there's a lot of bad too.
Yeah, but like my thing is like it's just so temporary. Like it's like, okay, yeah, they're keeping like these select titles alive, but like because they're not gonna hold this thing up forever, you know. Like one day they'll be like, like again, it could be like 20, 30, 40 years down the road, but it's just like, these services, they're outdated, we don't want to use them anymore. And then like all these games are just gone again, and it's just like and it's not just Nintendo. I just wish all the companies, if they just made it standard that like our new console has to play all the old games too, it would solve so many problems. And again, if
credit where credit's due, Xbox does a great job with that. They have backward compatibility across all their consoles now for almost virtually all of their games. That's huge.
And again, it's just like if the Switch 2 like prioritize that, basically being like, listen, we're doing cartridges, but in the dock itself there's a CD tray or a DVD tray that you can play your GameCube, your Wii, your whatever. Any physical game that you have will run on this device, like through our emulators and stuff. That's something that like Nintendo should
cartridges and stuff.
Yeah, and like just make it where it's just like, okay, we have the Switch 2 Ultra Dock, and it has a bunch of like the slots for all the other games.
That would be sick.
Yeah, if you did that, I would be like, okay, I might have to get the Switch 2. Because then it's just like, I can play all my GameCube games that I still have. I have my Wii games. And even if they did it at the very start, even like, that's why backwards compatibility is like really important for a new console. Because you can have a huge backlog of games that you could just play on it right away.
And if absolutely.
If they did that like Ultra Dock thing, it's just like, oh, that's a great value. And I think that's the thing, is like, I think my biggest complaint about the Switch 2 is it's just not that great of a value right now, and I just want Nintendo to make it like just a better like, and they could do just so many little things for it, like add the themes, make it more fun, do the backwards compatibility, like things like that. If they focused on that, it's like it would be way more easy for me to justify and get excited and want to go out and buy this new console.
Right. I think my last like true pro that I have for buying the Switch 2 is unfortunately not a great one, but it is there. I think it's worth talking about with the way the economy is, with how PlayStation has raised their prices on their PlayStation 5s, and then Xbox outdid them and did it by $100 for both the Series S and the Series X. Nintendo has even confirmed themselves that the price is variable at this point, with tariffs, with global economy and everything. So right now, like me jumping in at $450 is a lot, and it's a lot compared to even the Switch. The $150 jump between two consoles is the biggest we've ever seen from Nintendo by far. But if I buy it now, that means I'm guaranteed to buy it at that price right now. There's no guarantee that next year it wouldn't be 500 or 550 or 600. Let's get a little crazy here. I don't think it'd go that high, but there is a very real possibility that next year the console costs $500 or $550. So as dismal as that is, me jumping in now means I'm saving money in the long run, whereas we used to expect consoles to get a mid-generation refresh with slim hardware, whatever, and the parts are cheaper now because it's been several years. I think we're going into an era where that's no longer the case. And I think that consoles have a very real chance of going up in price over time. So that's my last pro, is that if you buy it now, you're at least guaranteed to not pay more later.
See, but then my counterpoint would just be like, I'll wait for the Switch 3 to come out, and then I'll buy a Switch 2.
Okay, yeah. If you got the patience, if you're not a super giddy like me and jumping in that ground floor, yeah, you're right. If you can just hold out, that's 100%. Like the Switch is gonna go down in price almost certainly once the Switch 2 hits. Like
Yeah.
you should be able to get the Switch 2 for cheaper down the line. Yeah, that's an unassailable counterpoint. I like that.
But well, it's like again, and I don't even think that's like a Switch problem. It's like I still don't own a PlayStation 5 because there's like I still just don't want one. Like
Yeah.
there's no like killer app out on there where I'm like, oh, I gotta buy this. So it's just like I'll probably just wait until like the PlayStation 6 comes out, and then maybe get like a PS5. Because like the biggest reason why I would want a PlayStation 5 right now is just to say I own every Sony system. I don't even want to like play it. I would just hate to have like the PlayStation 6 come out if it's like a handheld or not. If it's a handheld, that'd be really might be something I might want to get. But it's like I would hate to have like all the PlayStation consoles, not the 5, and then have the 6.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
It's just like, oh,
I'm
that
with you on that one.
me.
I am exactly the same.
So, but it's funny is like I don't feel the same way about like Nintendo. It's like I never had a Wii U, and I still don't feel the need to like go out and like buy one.
You absolutely don't need one. The Switch has virtually every single Wii U exclusive, minus like just a couple, and that's the Switch is all you need if you want to play the Wii U.
But what's sad is like the 2 Wii U games that I really would want to play are Wind Waker HD and like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Those are the only 2 Wii U games I want to play.
Oh, that's awesome. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is so
It's like that
awful.
one's not getting remade or ported ever.
No.
So I'm just like, shit.
Oh, that's funny.
I feel like as a Sonic fan, I have to.
Oh yeah, you are obligated to play Rise of Lyric. Like you have to try it out.
I'm sad I haven't.
It's a trip. I'll tell you that. But
Oh
my goodness.
yeah, no, I've played the 3DS ones, but the Wii U one,
3DS one actually is kind of good. Is not bad at all.
I like it, and I liked how Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, their like tagline for like the advertisers, like it's we did better than the first one.
Yeah.
It was like, that's good.
That was really good. That was clever.
But yeah, no, it's just like there are no killer apps, and it's like I just like my closing argument is just like I just don't see the value in getting the Switch 2, especially day one. But like I honestly don't see the value of getting the Switch 2 year one. Like for me personally, it's just like, again, the new Donkey Kong game looks cool. It looks like the Banjo game we haven't gotten yet. But like,
yeah,
for me personally, I still would want to play Donkey Kong 64 first before playing that one. So that one's not that big. I don't like Mario Kart. And like, I still need to play Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. So like,
DK64 and Metroid Prime are on your list. That's insane to me. Holy crap! Get on that, man.
Fucking what's its face? Chrono Trigger's on my list.
That's on mine too. I never got past like the opening act. Like, yeah, I'll cop it there. You're 100% right. We need to get on that one too.
And like, yeah, no, it's like my backlog is just insane. There's so many. I like, especially like Donkey Kong 64. I still have the magazine that I got in the 90s that had like ads for it, and I was like, I cannot wait to play this game. And like my excitement for it has not diminished any since then.
It's so good, dude. Don't let anybody tell you that it's like bloated. It's not. It's 14 hours to 100% complete that game. It's a joy from start to finish. It's so much fun. It's so good. Oh my goodness.
No, it's like I've seen people like complain about it, but it's just like one of those things where they complain like, oh, you have to like switch the monkeys and then like you have to like collect it. I'm like, good, that makes me happy.
It's genius. I want to see that mechanic again. If it's in DK Bonanza and they're just like, you know, not showing it right now, and you're gonna be able to play as multiple Kongs, I am going to lose it, and it will be like my game of the year no matter what else comes out. 150,000%. Holy crap.
Yeah, no. But I will say, like, again, if we got that like killer Zelda game, if we got like some out of left field announcement, if they make Glover 2 for the Switch 2, I will buy it.
Yes, 100%.
Come on, Nintendo. Like, it's on.
Make it happen, Nintendo. The fans want Glover 2.
It's like Half-Life 3, Bloodborne 2, and then like Glover 2. Those are like the 3 big games we need. The
3 horsemen of sequels we have to have before we all die.
And the Tulip remake. He's like the 4th horseman.
I need a Conquer sequel, man. That's my dark horse I have to have.
It's just like, again, it's just like, I feel Nintendo's in a spot where they could make this very enticing, but it's just like, for me personally, it's not there. And it's just like, I already own a Steam Deck, so it's just like, yeah, you putting like Cyberpunk and like Grand Theft Auto 5 on there, like, it's not doing it for me. I got better options.
I'll tell you though, if they put Grand Theft Auto 6 on it day one, everyone's playing it on the Switch too. That they're taking that on the go everywhere, and they're playing the absolute crap out of that game. Holy crap. I think that would win Nintendo the generation, just having that game on their console.
Well, too bad for Nintendo. I'm pretty sure that's just a theoretical game.
I think that will not. I'm not high on that happening either. I am incredibly wishful thinking for that, but
no, I'm not even talking about
we'll see.
I'm not even talking about the Switch 2 version. I'm talking about like Grand Theft Auto 6 might just not be out ever. Like,
that's true. We might not ever get it.
If I was Rockstar,
oh no,
I would just make a Grand Theft Auto game and just call it Grand Theft Auto 7. Like, nah, fuck it. We skip 6. Fuck it.
Oh, that would be so good. Just they stealth release 7 before 6. Oh, that'd be amazing. It's like a Chinatown Wars sequel or something. That'd be so funny.
Oh, that, or if like I also have like a dream of them like remaking like Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, and it's like this big like package, and like they hide it that they also made Banjo 3 in the game, and you unlock it after you beat 1 and 2.
Holy crap.
Like they keep it under wraps. Like they killed the development team.
And die on the spot.
Like they killed the development team after they finished the game. So no leaks would happen.
That's hilarious. Oh man.
Like the shock that people would have for that, like after you beat Tooie, and it's like, congratulations, you unlocked Banjo 3. And you're just like, what?
Oh my goodness. All the reviews are like, yeah, it's a solid remake, pretty good. You know, we love 3, and hopefully that means 3 will come out later. And it's like, Microsoft's just laughing at all of us at our expense. Like, it's in the game. You haven't found the biggest secret yet.
Yeah. Stop and Swap's real.
Oh, that's... Oh, man.
Well, I think we had a pretty good discussion about the Switch 2.
Absolutely.
But now it is your time, guys. Who won? Is the Switch 2 trash, or is it the greatest console ever? You can only... There's no in between. You gotta pick one.
Right. It's the greatest console ever. You have to buy it now. Be on my side.
But it looks so good in the trash.
You decide in the comment section down below. You have the power. You let us know who won. If I don't see 1,000 comments on this video, I'm gonna be pissed. So get in the comments section if you watch this video, and then share it with your friends so that they can watch it and comment on this video too.
Yes, and if we hit 50,000 likes, I will personally give everyone Grand Theft Auto 6.
Perfect. Yes. 100%. I will hold him to that. So 50,000.
I will walk to everyone's house and hand you a copy of Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't have to worry about it because the game's not coming out.
That's right. Yeah, we're never getting it. Oh man, thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure as always. I love doing this with you. Can't wait for the next one. This was a lot of fun.
Yep, anytime, man. And go subscribe to Retro Reviews. He should be at 1,000 by the time this video. I'll be very disappointed if he's not at 1,000 by the time I post this.
That's right. I've gotten like 43, 45 subscribers in the last like week. So let's just bump it up, get it to 1,000. Yeah, 100% agree. If it's not 1,000 by the time this video comes out, jump over to my channel, hit that subscribe button, make big number, go bigger, and I'll cross that 1K. And I'm doing a giveaway on my channel as well. Octopath Traveler sealed copy for the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, once I hit that 1,000 mark, it could be for you. So plug in that right now.
There you go. And link to his stuff is always in the description, along with my stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.